Kinds of Kindness is a film from Yorgos Lanthimos that is 3 vignettes with a cast of actors playing different roles in each story. The kinds of kindness expressed in these stories is anything but kind. But a through line of these 3 stories is how toxic relationships use love as a form of control, conformity, and punishment. The film also highlights how we are creatures that once used to a certain comfort, we will put up with it, even if it is painful in other ways. Change is difficult for us, even if it is the best thing for us, because our imagination gets a hold of the unknown, and we think it will be much worse. There is also the ever-present RMF, who mysteriously through the story dies, flies, and eats a sandwich. The first story follows Jesse Plemons' character as an underling to Willem Dafoe's character. Willem Dafoe plans out Jesse's life for him, from the food he eats, to the books he reads, to when he gets to have sex, if he has kids, who his wife is, and even decides for him that he needs to get into a car crash that could kill RMF. This story reflects a toxic work relationship. Jesse is dependent materially on Willem, but also his sense of self. Jesse's life has revolved around Willem for so long, he doesn't know what to do with himself now that he is free of Willem. Jesse's defiance is centered around the morals of possibly killing someone. Once Willem lets Jesse go, he just as easily finds Emma Stone's character, who is willing to possibly kill for Willem. This finally gives Jesse direction. He feels jealousy for Emma's character, and to prove himself to Willem. He not only possibly kills RMF, he definitely does by running him over. This shows his loyalty and gets Jesse back in Willem's good graces and some good cuddling time. Emma Stone shows us that anyone could fill Jesse's role, and because of that is what makes Jesse want it back, showing his unhealthy relationship with Willem. He also has little remorse for losing his wife or killing RMF. Willem is Jesse's most important relationship. I think plenty of workaholics live this dynamic. The second story centers around Jesse and Emma's marriage, a parable for a toxic marriage. Emma's marooning on a remote island is not just a plot device to get RMF in there flying a helicopter, but it does accomplish that. It also means that she has spent extensive time from Jesse. During her time away, she has become less centered around Jesse and changed, which manifests as Jesse's paranoia that Emma isn't actually his wife, which leads to his fussy hunger strike. Emma is very much a people pleaser. It's apparent that only Jesse really wanted to have a four-way with their friends, but Emma is still enthusiastic and willing. Emma bends over backwards for Jesse. Emma is willing to cut parts of herself out to satisfy Jesse, so much so that the old Emma is killed and the new Emma emerges that Jesse loves. This illustrates how people are willing to change themselves to appease others, particularly their spouse. The final story is a little more amorphous, but I think it's more telling how the desire to belong and kindness of a community drives people to do things they wouldn't normally do. Emma's poor marriage drives her to the arms of a religion with supreme control over her. She can only have sex with the leaders and can only drink their purified water. I think the climax of this story tells us the message of the film. Even though Emma finds the messiah of this cult, she still fails and it's assumed is still excommunicated, telling us that we can't just keep jumping through other people's hoops. We are too easily replaceable, unworthy, or jumping through these hoops is just too painful to stomach. We must choose to be who we are meant to be and find that acceptance where we can find it. That isn't to say it'll be easy. I think this film is trying to say that an act of independence, change, or self-expression is inherently painful. We are leaving the safety of the herd. But staying within the conformity of the herd can be even more painful. As for RMF, he cannot be killed. He will be always a constant. I think RMF could stand for a couple different things. One, religion, marriage, and finances, or responsibility, marriage, and family. He's a representative of these eternal constants that we always have to deal with. And on the surface, they seem to have a kindness to them, but in a lot of ways, they are very controlling and cruel. I would say this film definitely has a lot of what the fuck moments in it. A lot of head-scratching moments. It's a little incoherent, I would say, but that's kind of a hallmark of Yorgos Lanthimos a little bit, is that his films are a little bit harder to decipher. I would say he's definitely stretching the boundaries of relying on the human mind's ability to draw parallels and look at patterns, which makes the film interesting if you're really willing to pay attention to it, but also could make it very confusing and boring. But overall, I think that this is an interesting film. It's an interesting study. Unfortunately, I would say that this film's probably not for everybody, though. Thanks for listening to my analysis on kinds of kindness. It would mean a lot if you would like the video and subscribe to the channel, and if you wouldn't mind supporting me on Patreon, it goes a long way to helping me make more of these videos. Thank you.